can I be, how can I be mentally available if I'm dating multiple people? How can I be present with you here and now, exclusive in this space, if I have my mind on 2 other people that I'm dating? So if I'm telling you.
Welcome back to What's Up With You, everybody. Tonight we got Coach J, therapist, author, youth speaker, and we're going to discuss physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual availability in the dating world. But before we get into that, my show is brought to you by the I Am Chels X Store. Go to www.iamchelsxstore.com for inspirational apparel, merch, and more. So, Jay, what's up with you?
A lot. I mean, it seems like we got a lot to talk about tonight. I'm gonna kind of give some background before I just jump in here. But I am a mental health therapist, so I have a dual master's degree in marriage and family therapy and professional clinical counseling, and I'm also an educational consultant and a life coach. So I do a lot with people, and I love to support people. And so everything that I talk about tonight is from not only my expertise, but it's also from experience. So I'm excited to jump into this topic and kind of help and support us.
Oh, okay. Well, I have a therapist, so I see my therapist every other Saturday, but I didn't see him this Saturday. So this is like my halfway through therapy session.
Uh-oh.
Oh, good. Now, I was telling my wife earlier, he's more like my life coach at this point, but that's okay.
I mean, hey, they're interchangeable sometimes.
Right. All right. So, we got mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual availability. I have a main question, and then I kind of have them broken down based on each particular one. My first question for you is, which one would you say is the most important in dating?
That's a great question. Great question. It can't just be one. It cannot be one, because we're made up of a whole person. So when I think about, these are the reason that I chose these 4 quadrants is because that, for me, it makes up the whole person, right? And so if I'm available, if I say emotional availability is the most important. Well, mental can kind of go through that. Physical can kind of align with that. Then spiritually, it may not, because I may not see emotional as a spiritual connection. So it depends on how I see things, and it's based on the person. So it really depends. But I would say ultimately, based on my experience and expertise, it has to be all 4, because that makes one.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that's what I was thinking, but so how does it work? Do I need all of them to be equally balanced, or can I be a little less available in one and more available in the other and still have this thing kind of
look at
work
you.
out?
You asking some good questions. You asking some really good questions. I would say they fluctuate. Fluctuate, but I think I truly believe that it's the intentionality, right? It's the intentionality of wanting to be open and available in those 4 quadrants. So if I say, okay, I'm emotionally available, I'm open in that area, but physically I'm not open at all, it doesn't align. There's going to be barriers. You're going to try to be emotionally available, and then you're going to hit it once you try to physically connect with someone. Does that make sense? So if I say I'm emotionally available to receive, and I think we need to define all 4 quadrants before we kind of jump in this conversation.
No, we definitely do, because I don't know that. I mean, I know my definition. You know what I'm saying? But that's the first question I have for you. So I'll tell you how I have it broken down. I got mental first, emotional, physical, and then spiritual. Right now, if you had answered the question and given me one of the, you say, like, let's say you say emotional is the most important, I'd have scrolled up and went to emotional first. That way, everybody can get the main thing they need, and then just go out there and not touch people, but be emotionally available for them. But the first question that I have under the quadrants, under the mental, is what does it mean to be mentally available in the dating world? Like, what? Let's define it. What are we talking about?
So for me, and again, right, just based on my lived experience, being mentally available is being open, right? Mentally. What does that look like? I'm mentally healed. What does mental health look like, right? We're right back in mental health. So what does it look to be mentally healthy? That means that I am being intentional on keeping my mind clear and open to certain things, right? I'm mentally a mental availability is okay. I'm acknowledging that I may have some trauma, but when it comes to, let's say, triggers, right? When it comes to triggers are emotional, but intrusive thoughts are mental, which cause the triggers emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm mentally available, that means that I'm clearing my mind and I'm able to be present in the moment with whoever it is that I'm dating. So I'm present with myself, fully present with myself in the moment, and I'm fully open and present for that person mentally and being with them in that moment. So I'm specifically speaking of the context of dating, right? So again, mental health, I'm mentally healthy, trying to be intentional and open, understanding that, yes, let's again, example of I may have trauma, but I'm going to try to understand that I'm still in the healing process of my trauma mentally, but I'm going to be here and now mentally with the person that I'm dating in this moment.
Okay. When you say dating, let's figure out what we mean there, because apparently it's different.
Yeah, that one right there, that's the question of the time.
So when you're talking about this being mentally present while dating, right? Mentally available, are we talking dating exclusively, or are we talking like you and I are at dinner and like what, like I'm present, like I see you, you see me, I'm paying attention to you, and my mind isn't thinking about the fact that I work on Monday?
That's and that's a great question, but again, it's case by case, right? Because there's so many definitions of dating. So I would say if we co-create a definition of dating based on the context of which we're speaking now, I think it would be helpful. So my idea of dating is one person, exclusive. I'm very old school. So exclusive, one person. So if I'm focused, and that's another thing. How can I be mentally available if I'm dating multiple people? How can I be present with you here and now, exclusive in this space, if I have my mind on two other people that I'm dating? So I'm telling you, the way that dating goes nowadays, I'm like, okay, if I'm dating 4 people, I may have 2 dates lined up just for today. So I'm dating you. How can I be present with you fully in this space, in this moment, when I have a date in 2 hours with somebody else?
Well, that was my second question, because I number them. I'm giving y'all more information about my process. You know, the second question specifically reads: can you date multiple people and be mentally available for all of them?
How is that possible? I mean, some people, like we talk about. I can never say this word properly, so bear with me. I'm human. Compartmentalizing.
Right.
Right. For me, that could be a trauma response. Based on the experience and the people that I have provided therapy for over time, it can be a trauma response. I'm going to place this person on the shelf while I try to be present here and now and mentally available with this person. How's that possible? How's that possible?
Okay, so let's figure something out, right? I'm available. I don't have anyone, and I say, well, I'm looking for a long-term relationship. And I have to figure out who I think is the best person for that. So how do I do that? Because the first person I meet, I can't just say, oh, we're dating exclusively, right? Or is the process of me going out and hanging out with different people, that's not considered dating?
That's a great question. How do you get to know someone? So this is okay, and this is what I said on a live. I did a live a long time ago with Next Level Talk, and we talked about this. And so again, this is just based on my lived experience. I think to myself, when I'm dating, um, I don't just entertain every single person or thing that is presented to me.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first key. I remember Ayana Vazant. I don't know if you know who Ayana is. Ayana saved my life. She's like a
Mm-hmm.
mentor in my head. But I think about, she did a segment one time with a client, and they're sitting at a restaurant. And so the client orders something, and then she orders something, and the server kept bringing the client different food. And the woman just kept taking it. She kept taking the plates. And by the time they looked up, maybe 5 minutes into it, there's like 30 plates on her table. And then Ayana said, how come you didn't turn any of the things that you didn't ask for away? I was like, phew, that's what we do. We're so used to,
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm not going to say we, I'm not going to make a blanket statement, but some of us are so used to accepting and taking what we're given versus assessing and seeing if we even want it. So if I'm sitting there and there's men in my DM, or there's, men in my business place or at the grocery store that are approaching me, just because they're doing that doesn't mean that they deserve my time. So I have to assess myself and say, okay, what is it that I'm looking for before I even get out in the dating game? That will narrow down me spreading my time and myself out to multiple people. Now, to your question, as you said, okay, how do I get to know these people? Talk to them. Why are we jumping into dating? Have a conversation. I'm telling you, I'm at a point where I can have a conversation with you, and I will know within, at least, I will give myself 30 minutes, because I want to give a good full, I want to give you a chance. But give me 30 minutes, I can assess pretty quickly if this is someone that I want to date. Why? Because I know what I want. I've healed. I know what I deserve. My healing helps me assess to see if this person should have access to me. We don't do that. We get attention, and we have a void where we just want to fulfill that void, to the point where we just jump into dating to say I'm dating somebody. Why? And then we open up emotionally, we open up physically,
Mm-hmm.
right? We open up mentally, we open up spiritually. I'm not going to get into that, because that spiritual is connected to that emotional, not physical. I open up myself sexually. I'm opening up myself spiritually. And then we wonder why, after we slept with somebody that was depressed, we're walking around depressed, where we never felt depression in our lives before.
Mm. So you did answer my question in terms of, so talk to them, communicate with them, but we don't have to be in the dating phase. So I'm going to talk to these multiple people and figure out within 30 minutes if I'm not a therapist, so, but maybe I could do it in 45 and find out, okay, yeah, I like these two, and I got to figure out which one I like the most, and then I'm going to date her, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so one question that I did want to ask you for, I want you to give me like a tip, because a lot of people come to me for advice. I've done a lot of self-work to learn how to allow my mind to exist without me necessarily being dragged by it, right?
Yes. Okay.
Right. So going out on a date, we're sitting at the dinner table. How do I remain, like, what are the tips that I need to remain focused on, present is a better word, present.
Yes.
In this other person's presence, without allowing my mind to drag me to some trauma from the past or something that I have anxiety about in the future? How do I stay centered and be like, okay, I'm here?
That's a great question. And it's exactly what you said. Tell the person that. You know what? Right now, I just want to be fully present with you, and I'm going to be very intentional on listening to you. And the questions that I ask you, they're going to be very genuine. If you give them the opportunity, be real. What we do when we date, we try to put on a facade. We try to be this person that we think that the other person wants when we don't even know them. We don't even know ourselves sometimes, right? Real
Right.
talk. And so it's like, okay, like you said, how can I be fully present? Tell yourself, self-talk, self-negative talk, you flip that, counter it with self-positive talk. So while you're driving to the date, say to yourself, I'm going to be fully present. What kind of things do I really, really want to know about this person? We try to say the right things on dates. Why not just be real? Why not just be real? I'll give you an example, and I'm going to use myself. Like, God just had me out here just using myself. Lord help me. So I was dating, right? One person. when we met, the day that we met, we talked for 3 hours in person. We didn't even meet, like, it wasn't even intentional. We just met, we started asking each other questions, and we just hit it off, and we were talking for 3 hours. What kind of questions did we ask each other? Genuine questions, which made me, or supported me, to stay present with him. Why? Because I was fully intrigued, because I was asking the real questions that I wanted to know the answers to. I wasn't asking, oh, what do you do for a living? Oh, what kind of dog do you have? I don't want to know that. What do I want to know? Do you want more kids? What is your power you? What can you hold yourself accountable for in your past relationships in regards to the reason why you all broke up? That's the kind of stuff that I want to know. Ask the questions that you really want to know, because it's going to help you stay fully present in the moment. Stop asking these frivolous questions that don't make no sense.
Well, do you think that people don't really know themselves, so they don't really know what it is?
There it is. I don't know me, so I'm going to ask questions thinking that you want to know, thinking, okay, I don't know myself enough. That's why I say do the work first. Do the work first. Heal yourselves. Every healing journeys are different. There's different levels of healing. There's different ways to heal. But heal yourself first, because if you don't know who you are, you're going to be like that woman on Ayana and accept everything that is served to you. If you know what you want and you go, now don't get me wrong, we don't know everything that we want, and there's a difference between expectations and reality. Okay? And sometimes things don't come in the package that we think that they should come in. So that's why we need to be open mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. And when I say open, I mean open to, now I'm going spiritual here because I have a personal relationship with the Lord, right? So when I say open, I mean open. My prayer has been, Lord, let your will be done. That means I'm totally open, whatever God's will is. So if he shows up and he doesn't look like I think that he should look, or he doesn't have the job that I think that he should have, and I'm just making this stuff up, I'm believing that God's will is being done because I'm focused on him, right? And so thinking about, I went left, but thinking about just being open. But I want to anchor it back to what you were saying.
Which part?
I know.
Well,
oh, you said knowing yourself. Knowing yourself. Yes.
Yeah.
Know yourself. You have to. Because if you don't, if you don't know who you are, not even who you are, if you don't know what you want and you don't know yourself, you're going to listen to your traumas, and you're going to allow your traumas to dictate who and what you do. And a lot of the times it's intrusive and it's unintentional. We get in situations and we think that we're bonding with someone, but in actuality, it's a trauma bond. Oh, your dad passed away too? So did mine. Now you feel immediately connected to this person. And this is the first conversation that you're having. Now you're completely open based on a trauma bond, not realizing that you're really not connected to this person. So then what happens? You're like, oh, I'm open. This person experienced this grief, and this we have this connection that I've never had with anybody else. Then you open up yourself physically, and then what happens? Second, third date in, you're like, what in the world did I do? 9 months later, you looking up pregnant, not knowing what's going on. Know yourself, heal.
Okay, so we're talking self-awareness. So are we talking meditation, reading, affirmations, shadow work? Are we talking all of that, or whatever? Therapy is definitely,
yes,
right?
absolutely. But but what I'm also talking about is all of that stuff. Give you what you need. Give you what you need in the moment. We neglect ourselves so much, and we give to other people, or we don't give to ourselves because we don't know what our value is, to the point where, again, we allowed our voids to lead us. So everything that you just said, absolutely, that's a great start.
What's a great
start?
What's a great finish?
There is no finish. It's not a destination. It's a journey.
That was a great
answer. True.
Oh, man, I was like, I don't know what the end is, right? Okay.
It's not a destination. It's a journey. Now, let me tell you this real quick. The
Mm-hmm.
reason that we have to look, or we have the opportunity to look at it as a journey versus a destination. If I look at my healing, or knowing myself as a destination, when I don't arrive, I'm going to feel bad about me not arriving, right? But if I see it as a journey, every time I hit a milestone, I can celebrate myself because we evolve each and every day. So we have to give ourselves grace, understanding that we are evolving each and every day, and we may look different. We may like, someone who's 6'5" one day, and then meet somebody who's 5'8" and fall in love, but
Right.
or not, because we're so focused on I want 6'5". I want 6'5". Why do we want 6'5"? Why?
Because
That's
that's
a
what
whole nother
society
topic.
told, that's what society told us. But that's what I was gonna say though. Like I I'm self-aware, right? I'm pretty self-aware in terms of like strengths and weaknesses, triggers, things that I need to work on, things that I'm good at. But I think that a lot of us derive our self identity from society and from our parents and our upbringing. So that's a very difficult thing to find out. Like that's, to me, that's life's question. Who am I?
It is. It is. It is. You're right. Great question. Who am I? Can anybody answer that? No, because we evolve each and every day, and every behavior is learned, right? Like you said, most of the trauma that we've experienced comes from our childhood.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't even know that the trauma exists until we're in relationship. I say this is in my book. You don't know that a lot of the trauma we don't understand or know that exists until we're in relationship. There's a difference between being in a relationship and being in relationship. Do you know the difference?
In a relationship and in relationship.
Uh-huh.
I've never heard the question posed that way. But before you tell me, we're gonna see if I can decipher this in real time.
Okay.
Um, when I hear the term in a relationship, I think of myself and someone outside of me, and then we have establishes a relationship that exists. When I hear in relationship, I think the relationship that I have with myself.
Mm, that's good.
Okay, it's not good.
That's good. That's good. You're right on. So being in a relationship versus being in relationship. If I'm in relationship with someone else, that means I know them. I talk to them every day. They are a part of my life. They're important. They're significant, right? If I'm in a relationship, that means that means they can be an acquaintance, right? They can be someone that is close by but not as intimate, right? Not as intimate.
Mm.
And so that's the difference. That's what I kind of speak on when I talk about the difference between the two.
Okay, so let's shift gears a little bit because I have a question that popped into my mind.
Okay.
As a therapist and all of the other great things that you are, life coach, and I don't retain all of them.
It's okay.
As a woman, I just want your opinion. There's no right or wrong answer.
Okay.
What is the way to a man's heart?
It's not through food. I'll tell you that.
Okay, so scratch off
my,
that the way to a
my,
man's heart, Ellie.
no, that's a support to a man's heart. But I would say to a man, the way to a man's heart is reassurance.
Ooh.
Right?
Okay, yeah. Well, okay.
Yeah.
So I like that. I like that because I'm gonna tell you why I like it. I like it because it's the same answer that I had, but not that exact word, right? I was gonna say the way to a man's heart is through his inner child.
Mm.
But children, the one thing all children need is to be
It's
reassured. So that's
reassurance.
a really good answer in my opinion. I'm like, damn, she knocking him out the park.
But I'll tell you this. I literally just learned that lesson. I literally just learned. I'm learning. Like I said, I was dating. Now I'm in an amazing relationship because everything that I'm talking about, I literally applied. I've been telling people this. I've been supporting people in the dating world for so many years, And now I have a chance to be able to apply it myself. And what I'm realizing is everything that we've been told, like you just said, from society, that's why I would say this in our community, in Black community, we cook, right? That's just what we do. It's part of our culture. We're in the kitchen at a young age with the moms, with grandmas, right? Me, I wasn't like that. I balled. I'm a basketball player. So that's what I did. I played basketball. I came home late. I got out of doing chores because I was just a basketball player. So I didn't cook. That's not what I do. Now, I cook now, but I realized that in my relationship, he cooks better than me. So please, baby, cook. Like I want to eat good food. But I understand now based on, and this is and I wanna share this. And this is probably a whole nother life. What does it take to co-create a safe space in a relationship? That's how I know now that reassurance is a way to a man's heart. And reassurance is a huge pillar in a foundation when you are building in a relationship.
Mm. Yeah, I like
and
that.
It goes both ways.
I like that because when I hear reassurance, which is not a term that I typically use, but obviously I know the meaning of it, I think of, like you said, like a safe space, a place where there's no judgment, there's no fear of, I don't know, like an extreme reaction to an emotion that I'm having. We're not allowed to be, I'm talking we men, we're not allowed to be emotional. We're allowed to have certain emotions in public. I could be angry as I want to be. No one's gonna care. I'm acting according to the Matrix. Yeah, that's right. You know, but if I'm on the bench by myself crying, nobody really knows. Like, is he about to kill everybody in here, or you know, did his dog die? You know? So that's I like that answer. Reassurance. That's a good one.
Yeah, reassurance. You said something that just made a light bulb go off. You said we can defining a safe space. So I'll say this: in a relationship, if you want to co-create a safe space, you have to first define what that looks like, right? So I can say, Chelsea, we're safe here. You can talk to me about anything on this live. Like we're good, right? And your shoulders may tense up because you're like, okay, wait, safety. What is that? I never had that. Then you go back to your childhood. You start to experience trauma, right? You start to be triggered because you think about how safe you didn't feel when you were a child, and the past relationship that you've been in where you tried to be vulnerable, right? And you didn't feel safe. So what does that look like? You have to talk about these things. We're so scared to talk about our partners, or talk with our partners in the dating world about vulnerability, but I'm willing to have sex with you. I'm willing to give you my body, but I can't be vulnerable with you mentally. I can't be vulnerable with you emotionally. That blows my mind, because how can we do that? Because we're totally going off of what I'm feeling in the moment. So it's what I said at the beginning, right? Being fully present in the moment. But you're being fully present in the moment based on a feeling that you're feeling, which manifests physically. So you're doing the opposite, being fully present in the moment to get to know me, versus being open and fully present in the moment physically and giving me your body. It's just one perspective, everyone. This is not a blanket statement.
No,
it's just perspective.
I like it. So what my mind is putting together is, well, I think the reason that happens is because what you said, like, there takes effort and intentionality, right? The physical part, like, it doesn't. Like, I don't really have to be intentional about this, because the whole the fact that we have an act that we can perform together to make sure the human race exists, which means the whole universe pushing, right? I ain't really gotta be too present to stop or start this particular thing. Well, I gotta be more present to stop it than to start it, right?
Makes sense.
Because that's what's natural. So you have to elevate. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Emotional. So we're moving into the emotional, right? Is it possible to be too emotionally available in the dating world?
Again, when we talk about dating, based on the definition that we gave at the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
we're exclusive, right? So it's one-on-one. I would say it is possible, and again, this is just from my mind, it is possible to be overly emotionally available in the way of you're looking for your emotional needs to be met by this one person.
Mm.
So I am pouring everything. So kind of tapping back into what you said earlier, the inner child, right? So when I'm dating, I'm looking for you to be my daddy. I'm looking for you to be my best friend.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking for you to be my girlfriend, right? Where I can tell
Mm-hmm.
you anything, everything, get her nails done, toes done. I'm looking for you to do all of these, hold all of these positions and be completely emotionally available on your end where you can pour everything it is that I need into me.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not your position to do. That's not for you to do. What I'm saying is, when I say emotionally available, that means being emotionally open, not only to give but to receive, right? But if I have all these voids and I haven't healed from past abuse from my father, then I'm looking for you to be emotionally giving in the area of fathering me. Now, it's a very thin line, a very, very thin line. And let me make this clear. When being in a relationship as a woman, we automatically, unintentionally, and this is the Freud ego and all that stuff, right, in psychology, but we unintentionally look for the male to be the what? The protector, to be the father figure in some areas. Some of that is healthy. So when I talk about being overly emotional, it's the voids that we're looking to have filled by this person that we're dating when it's not their place to fill those voids. It's for us to get the healing that we need in order to fill those voids so that we can receive emotionally what is given to us from the person that we're dating, what they're naturally supposed to give to us. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. And while you were talking, a very important question popped in my mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
So as a man, sometimes it feels weird to like get compliments,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
How, and like, so like if you get, I'm trying to think of an example, but like, let's just say you were like, Chels, you know, you're really good at hosting a show and you're really articulate. Now that doesn't specifically make me feel squishy, but
Uh-huh.
let's say it did, right? How do I remain emotionally available, like receptive to that without it making me want to go into my shell?
Okay. So you got to give me a little bit more. So you're saying when share that with me again.
So like let's say you are emotionally available. You and I were dating. You are
Uh-huh.
emotionally available. So you are really good at expressing your emotions towards me, right?
Uh-huh.
But I
Uh-huh.
have a difficult time receiving them. Like,
Receiving them.
it makes me
Mm-hmm.
feel not that you're making me feel bad, but it just makes me uncomfortable because it's not
Uncomfortable.
I
Mm-hmm.
got a child and I'm not really used to. So when you give it to me, I feel kind of awkward and I don't really know how to respond.
Great question. So if I am emotionally available and I'm open based on how I define it, that means I know how to navigate these spaces. So what I'm going to do is reassure you
Mm-hmm.
that we have co-created this safe space between us where you can be vulnerable and receptive. And I would say, hey, Chelsea, you know what? One thing that I do see is when I give you a compliment, I see you kind of tense up. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? Like, where does that come from?
You're such a therapist.
It does. I'll tell you this, right? Yeah, right. It sounds like the typical therapist. But can I tell you? Can you share with me what you mean, or can you tell me a little bit more about that? Even following it with, because I'm saying it like this, like, because babe, I really care about you, and I want to make sure that I am being fully present with you, and I want us to be able to be vulnerable with each other in this space. It sounds like therapy, but in actuality, it is. And can I tell you, it works.
Right.
And it's not that I'm being that I do this in my own relationship. And he does it for me. And
Right.
it's not that I'm being a therapist. That's the way that we connect. That's the way that
Mm-hmm.
we connect, right? And it's being able to identify that something is happening. Because if I'm dating you, I can feel it. Why?
Right.
Because I'm fully present. Right? We talked about at the beginning of the question. At the beginning of the life, how can we be fully present? Being fully present means I can feel you. It's a vibe. When you date me,
Mm-hmm.
it's a vibe. Like, it really is a vibe. Like, I can feel you. So I'm going to reassure you that it's okay to be able to be vulnerable and present, because I know as a black, and this is what I say to my boyfriend. I know as a black man, that reassurance is not something that you get on a daily basis. So, babe, here, this is what you're going to get. Like, you're going to get reassurance. You're going to have a space where you can be vulnerable. You're going to have a space where you're going to feel loved each and every day. If it's just me sending you a text message telling you I appreciate you, you're a king, you're doing an amazing job, you're raising your, I'm telling you, I pour because as women, we're a help me, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're so social media and just society has us tearing each other down. When I turn on the internet, all I see is fights, and I'm like, I'm tired of that. I don't want that. So if I don't want that, where does it start? It starts with me. It starts with my relationship, right? It starts with how I raise my kids, how we raise our kids. And so if you're dating me, I'm a poor, baby. I'm a poor. I'm gonna give you what you need. I'm gonna help you feel supported in the spaces where you feel uncomfortable. Because obviously, to me, that's something that you haven't felt before. So I'm on this journey with you, and I'm going to let you know that it's okay. It's okay to cry. It's okay to tell me how you feel. I'm not going to turn around and weaponize your trauma.
Mm. I think that happens a lot, though.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know why?
Enlighten me.
It happens a lot because when we date, we're going right back. I don't know me. I don't know you. So when I step in this safe, quote unquote, safe space, when you say something to me and I'm triggered because I wasn't healed, now I'm going to turn around and weaponize what you've given me against you. Because I haven't taken the time to get to know myself and heal. And I'm thinking, you just triggered me. You reminded me of the time where my daddy hit me. You didn't even have to hit me, but your words triggered me to the point where now I feel as though, and I'm reminded that you look and sound like my father. So now what do I have to do? I revert back to my childhood, and now I'm fighting. I don't have no weapons because I really don't know you except for what you told me in our safe space. And this happens
Mm-hmm.
in marriages too.
Yeah, that's that's deep. Let me ask you this. So we have a safe space, right? And our safe space has been going well. I can pour into you, you can pour into me. And then one day we're in the safe space and you say something that triggers me,
Yes.
right? Just
Yes.
for human, right? It's
Yes.
okay if I just say, you know what, that triggered me. I'm in my feelings a little bit.
Yes. It
Okay.
sounds funny because that's not how
Right.
we talk. But
Right.
we
Right.
need to
Right.
start talking like that. That's how we need to talk. And I'll tell you this, and I'm glad you said that. I'm so happy that you said that. In co-creating a safe space in a relationship and or marriage in the dating world, if you are intentional, it's possible, but it has to be both individuals and you have to have healed, right? Now,
Mm-hmm.
don't get me wrong, like I said, you can still be in the healing process, and that takes you checking your own self, right? If I'm in
Mm-hmm.
the healing process and something happens where I'm wrong, I'm able to hold myself accountable and say, you know what? I just said something and you just told me, like, okay, you know what? I feel triggered. You said something that triggered me. Okay, in this safe space, we should be able to talk about that. Babe, my intent versus impact. My intent wasn't to hurt you. But again, key thing that I want to drop here, even in a safe space, there is still going to be hurt.
That's a good one. I think so. I think so. I'm into politics, right? I'm an independent if anybody wants to know. So I could pick a party, either one of your political parties. But I like to watch these debates where conservatives go to like colleges, and the kids will be like, this is supposed to be a safe space. So since you said that, like, yo, you get your feelings hurt in a safe space, it made me think about that. So that was pretty brilliant. That was a good one. I like that one.
It's true. It's true. We go into a safe space thinking, okay, I'm gonna always feel safe. Okay, yeah, you're gonna always feel safe, but there's still a possibility that you're gonna be hurt in your safety. But even in being hurt in your safety, understanding that the person's intent. Let me tell you this. My mom is 69 years old. She's actually here. She's amazing. If you ever want her, she's in the back. I think I need to do a live with her because she's so full of wisdom. And she told me the other day, she was like, if somebody is hurt because you lied to them, take a poll. Ask anybody in life, have you ever lied? If someone says, no, I never lied, they're a liar. Right? Yeah, they're a liar. And I started laughing and I was like, what? She said, it's not that you lied. It's the intent behind why you lied. Because some of us lie because we don't want to hurt our partners. We don't want to see them sad. So we try to protect them from certain information or certain things because we assume it's going to hurt them versus, and I'm going to use Next Level Talks. I wish he was on here, but I'm going to use Next Level Talks little phrase. Don't take my choice away. Shout out to Next Level Talk. Don't take my choice away. When I first met him and he said that, I was like, woo! Don't take my choice away. He's like, give me the information, feed me the information, give me the facts, and let me make a choice. Don't make the choice for me. And that's what we do in dating. That's what we do in relationships. We take away the person's choice because we don't want to hurt them. So when we lie, what is the intent? Right? And so back to that co-created space. You can still be hurt in a safe space, but it's talking about it. It's exactly what you said, babe. What you just said to me, that kind of hurt my feelings and it triggered me. So if that's the response, then I would say, babe, okay, let's really talk about this because this is a phrase that I use all the time. Let's use this to be able to strengthen our relationship. We ain't going back. I ain't going back to being single. You ain't leaving me. I don't know if you ever seen that Instagram thing, like, babe, we go together. Like that's just what it is. Like we're not leaving each other. We're building right now. But it takes a mindset from both individuals to understand that that's what we're doing. We're building. We don't break down. That's not what we do. So in this safe space, if there's hurt, I need to know intentionally that you are not being malicious. But it takes me, healing from my past traumas, at least a lot of them. And it takes me understanding you and knowing that you were in this space and we're dating and you've shown me consistency and stability in your mental and you're open emotionally and mentally, spiritually and physically with me to the point where I know that your intention is not malicious if you hurt me in our safe space.
That's so everything you just said, it made me think about two things. One is that, how would I put this? It's like you have to be willing to have a training mode within your relationship, right?
Absolutely.
Right? That's kind of cool. Like, oh, you triggered me. Hold on, let's go into training mode because we need practice. We need some practice where I can make mistakes and we can say some things and I can turn the ball over. No, I'm saying like in terms of like you hoop, I hooped, right? And you know, like you make your mistakes in practice. You make your mistakes in training so that when game time comes,
you're right.
Right. So it's like we're having this conversation. I get triggered. But we need to go to training mode. Okay, we go to training mode, and in training mode, we just have the ability to slow down and break the play down step by step. You cut too. It's just supposed to be a V cut or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Do it again.
Yeah.
And like that. So that's one thing that I thought about. The other thing, I don't think you were on this live, but we had this really good live one day, and someone came. The question was like too much information on the first date. Right? And a guy came on and he said that he was on the first date with a young lady, and she told him that she was a sexual assault survivor. Now, and he also said that she asked, "Can you heal me?"
Woo!
Parted ways with her on the "Can you heal me" part, right? And so everybody was saying, "Nah, yo, that's too much information. That's too much information on a first date." My position was this: I can see why y'all feel like that's too much information on a first date. However, everybody that I know that's looking for somebody, their main line is, "I don't want to meet your representative." I said, she shows up and she tells you, "Listen, a major part of my self-identity is that I survived a sexual assault and it still messes with me." You're essentially telling her, "Yo, put your mask back on. I want to see your representative."
Wow.
And I was like, well, I'm not saying that you have to, and this is the way I put it. I said, I'm not saying that you have to be with her because she was honest with you. I said, but outside of the people being nice, I said, if I were ranking them, I'd be like, okay, well, who do I respect the most? Well, I respect the one who came to me off the rip and just told me.
What's
your opinion on that?